timeline of the Chinese Communist Party and see if anything lines up with what's happening.
I put these in there because there
today.
are parallels between what's happening here
That's exactly correct.
and what happened there.
That's
Same thing with Nazi Germany, too.
Yeah. July 1921, inspired by Russia's October Revolution in 1917, about a dozen people secretly formed Chinese Communist Party, CCP, at its first Congress in Shanghai, then a French concession. What people don't know is Mao had been at school with a certain group of 3 individuals who were of European descent, only not so European descent, who just so happened to introduce Mao to communism and Marxism and Zionism.
Mao!
It sounds like somebody kicked a cat. 1924, first united front and alliance between the Kuomintang, the Chiang Kai-shek's people. I think I mentioned this last week's show, where they got driven to Taiwan.
They got moving to
Kuomintang and the CCP was formed to fight warlords in the Northern Expedition Campaign. Warlords were still a thing in China at the time. Warlords are still a thing in China in certain areas.
Well,
there are still some warlords.
Warlords usually form when there is not really much government.
In some of the remoter areas of China, it is my understanding that there are still a couple of very little, tiny, localized warlords that the Chinese government tolerates because they pay the warlord and he keeps everything in check and they don't have to govern that remote area that they don't really care about anyway.
Correct, yeah.
That's my understanding.
Well, I know in Afghanistan and in Pakistan and a lot of Africa, there are warlords all over.
Oh my God, yeah. Afghanistan is like, that's their thing.
Yeah.
They
actually have a war season.
Planting season, war season, harvest season, winter season.
Yes.
They have an actual war season.
Yeah.
They're all excited about it too. They love it.
It's their Xbox.
I'm sorry.
You're going to get us a strike, bro.
Is that racist? September 1927, after the failed autumn uprising against the Kuomintang's purge of the communists, Mao led his fledgling Red Army, there's Mao, to set up the communists' first revolutionary base in Jinggangshan, known as the cradle of the Chinese Revolution, in a landlocked southeastern province of Shaanxi. The Red Army was formed a month earlier and renamed the People's Liberation Army, which is the one that we contended with in Korea. 1931, Japan occupied northeast China and set up Manchukuo with the last emperor, Puyi, as the nominal ruler. Puyi had abdicated in 1912 after the fall of the Qing dynasty, but the Kuomintang was preoccupied with wiping out the communists and did not declare war against Japan until 1938. 34, on the brink of annihilation by the Kuomintang, Mao and his Red Army begin the Long March, a one-year trek covering 9,000 kilometers from Shaanxi to the northern province of Shanxi.
Which is close to Russia.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, because Russia, the reason the communists were able to do what they did, Russia backed the Communist Party in China, and we failed to back the other forces.
That was the genesis of the Chinese communism right there. So in 1949, Mao founds the People's Republic of China after routing Chiang Kai-shek and forcing them over to Taiwan. The communists introduced a state-planned economy and land reform, and away we go. They collectivized farms and nationalized private enterprises.
Didn't we just
all the local farms are being purchased by big corporations?
Well, we just covered this with the presidential edicts.
Yeah.
So we just read you the presidential edicts, and now we're going through the Communist Party history, and there are a bunch of parallels here.
Yeah. Get this, crime and corruption were virtually unheard of for decades. Why? Because the only people allowed to commit crimes were the government.
Correct.
That's the way it works. That's what's happening now. Do you think the FBI was actually created to fight the mafia? They were created to eliminate competition. That's why the FBI was created. They were created to eliminate competition. The mob during World War II actually helped the United States of America by defending the docks at New York and New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. They actually took orders from the FBI then.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
And the Navy.
And it's really weird because, you know, the FBI is like, all right, we know you guys control the docks. We understand.
Yeah.
All right, this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
We're going to pull back a little bit, but we're going to let you handle this, this, and this. So we don't want to really know about it.
Sounds a little like warlords in China.
Yeah.
Odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Odd, isn't it?
Corruption, evil
Yeah.
hairless monkeys. Who knew?
1950 to 1953, Mao plunged China into the Korean War, fighting shoulder to shoulder with North Korea against American-led United Nations troops and South Korea. They didn't fight shoulder to shoulder with
No,
the
they
North
did
Koreans
not.
at all.
Well,
That
first,
is
the
an
North
absolute
Koreans got
fallacy.
their asses handed
Yes.
to them in the beginning.
China only entered the war because MacArthur threatened to cross the Yalu.
Yes.
That's the only reason China entered the war. And Mao threw 14 divisions at MacArthur's 3.
Mhm. I personally would have nuked him back then.
MacArthur asked for nukes.
Yes.
MacArthur asked for 5 nukes. They were not given to him. 1957, about 500,000 intellectuals were banished to toil in the countryside during the anti-rightist movement. Notice how they define it as rightist. After Mao lured the snake out of its hole by urging him to speak up during the 100 Flowers Bloom campaign, basically what Mao did is anybody who was educated, he had killed.
Yep.
What's our education system doing right now? Teaching about lube.
Yep.
Odd. That's a strange similarity there. That's two.
Well, let's face it. All right. If what we have going on in this country, if it divulges into a two-way rifle range, you're going to see a lot of individuals who are well educated, attorneys, what have you, getting whacked. Because there's going to be a lot of people with vendettas and personal grudges. Yeah. And the beginning of every civil war, the first 6 months is usually people settling grudges and vendettas.
Yeah.
That happened in the first Civil War. It happened in there was a couple civil wars over in Cambodia and what have you. Yep. But that's like SOP for the beginning of a civil war. Sorry, we went down a rabbit hole.
That's okay. Basically, the Chinese Communist timeline matches up pretty well with what's taking place today.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.